Okay, 7th graders, we have lesson 9.4 on surface area. It's one of our trickiest lessons really of this whole term, but it's one of the funnest, and I'm hoping to teach you a method that's going to help you feel confident and enjoy this. Okay, so really two methods, but they're connected. You can see the objective here. For the objective for your class notes, I want you to write, students can use the draw and combine and draw and net methods to calculate surface area. And then our key idea is really this word, draw. And as you write down your key ideas, and you may need to pause the video to do that, and that's okay. I'm going to highlight, maybe in this nice pink color, that word draw. Draw. This is our key. If you take the time to draw it out, I really believe that you are going to succeed at this task of finding surface area. And there's two approaches. The first one I'm going to show in this video. The second one I'm going to show in the second video. Both combined require kind of stick-to-itness, and that's another thing we're developing here. Okay, so again, you can pause the video as we go, but we're going to draw a what's called a triangular prism. It's going to look kind of like a wedge of cheese. And so you would start by drawing a rectangle like this, carefully. It's good to have a ruler, actually, as you do this kind of thing. And then you're going to draw a triangle off the top of the block of cheese. And what I did is I put a kind of dot to guide my drawing down, well, just where you see it. And the reason why I put it there is that it's more or less not perfect. We're not going for perfection here. I'm going to make a kind of thicker line, I think, about like so. Anyway, you'll see that this is located in a place where if we draw dotted lines down from the corners here, they're going to intersect at this dot. And so we have this nice kind of wedge of cheese. And then your next step is going to be really a triangular prism. I should call it by its mathematical name. And our next thing is that we're going to label. We're going to make sure that we see what's called the dimensions, or the sides of the triangular prism. Okay, and the labels are right there, and you'll notice that it's in centimeters. And you also may notice that your drawing isn't perfect, and that mine isn't either, and that's okay. But by engaging in the process of drawing, and this is the key idea, you hopefully can see the five shapes here that are part of the triangular prism, the five plane figures. Okay. The two triangles, I think, are maybe the easiest to see. I'm not going to shade them in for you right now. In fact, I'm not going to do a lot of shading in until the very end, because I think the first three here, the two triangles and the big triangle and the big rectangle, should be fairly straightforward to see. The two triangles, we define their area by the formula 1/2 base times height. The base here is 14, okay? And so we're going to take half of 14, and the height, you'll see with the arrow pointing here, is 5. A couple different ways to work with this, but I'm trying to kind of teach you some methods that are going to be helpful as you do more algebra. So I'm going to write this as 14 times 5 over 2. I'm going to do something kind of fun. I'm going to rename 14 as 2 times 7, because 14 is just 2 times 7, right? Divide that by 2. And that 2 divided by 2 is 1, and we end up with the area equals 35. But remember, we have two of these guys, two triangles, and so we end up with 35 times 2, and we end up with 70 square centimeters. All right. Area formula for rectangle is really straightforward. It's base times height. So we say area equals, in this case, this big front rectangle is going to be 14 times 12. So, and the 12 you can kind of see going up and down here, so 14 times 12. You might want to say to yourself that, well, 10 times 12 is 120, yeah? And 4 times 12 is going to be 48, and 120 plus 48 is 168. And so the area equals 168 square centimeters. And here, we got the two back rectangles. And here I'm going to shade in for you a little bit, partly because it's fun for me to do, and partly because particularly those of us who don't draw a whole lot, and I include myself in that, sometimes it's hard to see these back shapes. So here's one. Here's one back rectangle that I'm going to kind of highlight in this yellow color. I love this app. It's called Notability. It's great. There's other apps. I don't want to be just an ad for Notability, but I do love it. And here is this other back rectangle, which I'm just happening to do in orange because I feel like it. There it is, and because I can. So we have the yellow rectangle and the orange rectangle. Even though they look a little bit different in the drawing because my drawing's not perfect, you'll see that the top side of both is labeled as 10 centimeters, and that's an important piece of learning because in geometric drawings you'll find that the labels are more important than what the drawing looks like. If it's labeled 10, it's 10. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to say that these are 10 by 12, which is 120. But again, there's two of them, and so we have 120 times 2, which equals 140 centimeters squared. And I'm getting tired of drawing in this red color, so I'm going to go back to black. Tried and true. And you might want to ask yourself, you know, we've done all this work, we made an elaborate drawing, you notice that we kept careful track of our work. That's another key idea really here, is that you have to kind of keep careful track of your work because there's 5 different shapes. And at the end, what do? Well, you add up these 3 subtotals. We add up this adds to this and adds to that, and we're good to go. So, yeah, the addition is commutative though, and I'm liking these numbers here, the 140 and the 70. And so I want to say that, 140 and 70 is going to be 210. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. What's the problem here? This is not right. You guys see the mistake? Maybe you saw the mistake all along. I'll draw it in red. This is 240. Wow, I almost made a big mistake. But it's easy to do that, right? So this is an important thing. You need to sort of check your work as you go along and use your instincts. So 240 and 70 is 310. And we're going to add 168. Yeah, and we get 8, 7, and 4. And our answer is 478. What is it again? Centimeters. And it's area. Remember, we're just adding up areas here. Centimeters squared. All right. Hang in there because we have the next method, which is drawing a net. But that's going to be in the next video.